What a pleasure it is to be joined by the fifth pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, defensive tackle Mason Graham. When you hear that, you are the fifth pick, top 5 pick in an NFL draft. Is that something, go back to when you were a kid, when was that something that even became like a pipe dream for you?
Yeah, probably, when I knew I wanted to, excel at the next level is probably 6th or 7th grade when I know I wanted to take it super serious, and this is what I wanted to do. So this is kind of just a dream come true.
When you were in 6th or 7th grade, when you were thinking about that, were you thinking that you were going to be a running back drafted in the top 5 in the NFL? Then you used to handle the ball a little bit in your early days?
Yeah, I used to handle the ball, but I thought I was more of a linebacker back then.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a linebacker. Then, I started to progress, my body transformed, and then put my hand in the dirt, and then here I am.
What was it like? Take me through yesterday, just the nerves of it, because you can see the mock drafts. You can see all the rankings. Like, you knew there was a good chance you were going early in this draft. Mm-hmm. But what are kind of the nerves like until you actually know?
Yeah, I was like more anxious than nervous,
Sure.
Wherever I was going to be blessed to go, that was God's plan. So, obviously it's Cleveland, so I'm, really happy to be here, excited to get to work. But, yeah, just a crazy 24 hours, everything, you dreamed of. All the dreams coming true. It happens fast, but, it's hard to take in, all at once.
When did you know it was going to be Cleveland?
I had a good feeling. I heard some stuff going around that Jacksonville might wanted to trade up and, get Travis. So I didn't know, what was going to happen, but, I knew, what happened on my visit. I thought I had a good visit, had a good relationship, and I feel like I can just fit good in this scheme. And then ultimately I got the call and, just super excited.
Is it wild to know what we know now, which I'm guessing you weren't privy to, and if you were, you wouldn't even tell us anyway, but that this was kind of in place for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I didn't know, but
yeah.
I'm just thankful. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I didn't know anything. I just know that my phone rang and I saw that Cleveland area code, and now I'm blessed to be here.
So today you're walking around, you've got your parents and your grandma. What's it like to be able to share this with them? Because not only is this a huge thing from a football standpoint, this is a huge thing for the Graham family. I mean, This is a transformative financial moment in your family's history. This will affect future generations of Grahams forever. What's kind of that been like to be with your family and enjoy all that?
Yeah, I'm just grateful that I was able to bring them along. My journey. They've been, I've been blessed that they've been able to sacrifice a lot for me to get where I am at. Even, just like them coming to games, even just coming to a game, they live in Hawaii now, so it's kind of a far track to the Midwest, but, they make it happen, even though if it's just seeing me for like 30 minutes after a game, they take that 10-hour flight and, just want to see me play. And so it's just, it's a full circle moment, just making them proud, and giving back to them, what they gave me.
I'll tell you something. You're going to be in Cleveland. It'll be nice to be able to say, "Oh, I'm going to go to Hawaii in the offseason." That'll be something that your teammates will be very envious of.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be out there.
There's no doubt. How wild is it that when you think about this draft, you and then McMillan, your high school teammate, top 8 players in this draft?
Yeah, it's just, everything, like I said, coming full circle. We did our 4 years of high school together. I knew him, ever since he was in 8th grade. So we did our 4 years of high school and then 3 years of college. So we came out the same year. And, it was just cool being able, even during the draft process and, combine process,
Yeah.
we trained together in Arizona. I trained with a lot of my teammates too. Me, Will Johnson, Colson Loveland, and then T-Mac was there too. It was kind of cool just seeing, everyone kind of bond together and, just really guys that I'm going to be close friends with for a long time.
How did you end up going to Michigan? Because your teammates all went to the University of Arizona. Mm-hmm. My uncle, may he rest in peace, the great Zaga, was a professor at the University of Arizona in Tucson. So bear down, that is close, near and dear to my heart. So how did you end up going to Michigan?
Yeah, my story was kind of different. A lot of people don't think of West Coast kids coming to the Midwest to come play football, but I kind of had a slow recruitment, and it picked up my senior year. So, midway through the year, I was getting more looks, and then I thought, I wanted to be developed into the best player I can be, and Coach Harbaugh and a bunch of, NFL caliber coaches were there. So my ultimate goal is to be in the NFL, and, why not, Michigan and get developed by the best to, get to my ultimate goals.
So you've been around winning, won a national championship. That was that the pinnacle of your sports career at that moment?
Yeah, for sure.
How special is it to have that bond with all the guys that were on that team with you to win the national championship?
Yeah, it's kind of just, different nowadays. I feel like college football is never going to be the same,
Totally.
all this NIL stuff going on. So I feel like that was the last year, an actual team was formed, and just that's what a team really was supposed to be. And, we'll look back on, that Natty 30 years from now. We'll have reunions, and it's just going to be cool seeing all the guys, a lot of players, Mikey Sanders-Stills, Chris Jenkins, Junior Colson's, all those type of guys, that will come. It's going to be cool. We'll all be in the league for a long time.
I was going to say, there's like, what, 15, 20?
Oh, yeah. I think there was like 15 some guys drafted last year. So
Yeah. A bunch more this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. It is very special, and I know you've already gotten a lot of questions about the Ohio State aspect, but I'm from California as well, so I'm from Northern California, from San Francisco Bay Area. I have a lot of friends who are Michigan people, a lot of friends who are Ohio State people. All the Michigan people are very excited, as I told you earlier about my buddy the kid. The Ohio State people are like, you know what? He kind of kicked our butts, so I'm glad he's on our side now.
Yeah.
So which is rare, and things have come a long way, obviously, in that rivalry. But that's rare, especially for a guy that, I'll say it for you, it did not lose to the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's cool, just seeing how the Cleveland fans are embracing me. We have our differences in the past, but, we're coming together for the betterment of the team. And, all I want to do is come to Cleveland, build the city up and build this team up to get, Cleveland back on top.
All right, so I was going through, this is Dane Brugler's profile on you, and I don't know if you're aware, he does this thing called the Beast, which is in this binder. That is his scam. Everybody that is draft eligible, and it has all kinds of cool nuggets in it. And one of the things I was reading about that struck me was that you spent some time prior to last season training with the sack sensei, Javan Gopi. Am I saying his name right?
Uh-huh.
Tell me about that. What do you get from a sack sensei?
Yeah, that's just his name he goes by. But, I've worked with a lot of, great coaches, and, I happen to be in Florida, and then he's based out of Florida, so I just wanted to get some work in. He was there to, help me. I trained at this facility called Bomberito out there for a day, and I did some work with Sack Sensei too. So it was pretty cool. Just, all I want to do is, work, no matter who that be with. I feel like work is work at the end of the day.
How excited are you to go from, and I know that you loved what you did, obviously, at Michigan, but we talked about this a little bit last night, to just attacking, just being like, my job is to beat the guy in front of me and go disrupt the play.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to make everything simpler for me. Coach Schwartz was kind of referring to me kind of like taking the chains off, taking the cuffs off, so, kind of letting loose, attacking, creating negative plays, and, I'm really going to embrace that.
So I saw a video that our social team put out of you got a text from Myles Garrett kind of immediately.
Yeah.
What was, if you care to share, you don't have to. What did he say? And how's that relationship? Where did that relationship start?
It was just brief. He congratulated me, just basically said he's excited to work with me. And, obviously I'm excited to work with him. He's one of the best, and I feel like I can learn a lot from him.
Is it one of the weird things I would imagine going from college to the pros is that now Myles Garrett's your teammate? This is a guy that I'm sure you've watched and you've seen. Obviously, he's going to end his career in Canton. And now it's like you're going to look over and be like, oh, man, they're double teaming him. Let's go. But there he is. Yeah,
for sure. I feel like he'll create, a lot of opportunities for both of us. Obviously he has a lot of attention on him, but, I came here to come, take some attention off of him and, free him up a little bit. And, I feel like we're going to work really good together along with all the other guys on the front.
How excited are you to actually get to work? Because you're not here to do interviews. It's part of the gig, right? But you're here to play football.
Yeah, I feel like, this draft process is really long, but, a lot happens in, 24 hours. All the action really happened, but, it's 4 months of, meeting with teams, everyone trying to get to know you and, find out what, makes me the player I am. So, yeah, just blessing.
What was the most important thing that you wanted to convey to teams that were interested in you?
Yeah, I wanted to convey, I feel like I'm the most dominant player in this draft class. I feel, a lot of players, sometimes are one-dimensional. I feel like I'm not. I play the run and pass at, equally high level. I feel like, I just have the mental and physical toughness to have what it takes.
What do you want to accomplish? Winning is the goal, and I know that every team wants to win, every player wants to win. What do you hope that you can kind of come in here, and it comes not numbers or anything like that, but what is your goal like for your rookie season in the National Football League as you make jump? You're the most dominant player in this draft. How do you hope that translates into your rookie season?
Yeah, I just want to make a name for myself. Obviously, I got drafted high. It comes with a lot of expectations, but, I just want to make a name for myself and, obviously win a lot of games like you said, but, have the respect of my teammates to, want to be on the field with me and, take Cleveland back to the top conference championships and then, ultimately Super Bowl.
Have you heard from Coach Harbaugh?
I heard from him during the combine.
Yeah.
When I was at the combine,
I'm sure he's not happier in his conference.
no, he's all good. They got great players too over there. So, happy for those guys, and it's always good catching up with them.
All right. If there's one thing that when you put on the Cleveland Browns uniform, it says Graham across the back of your back, that you want Cleveland Browns fans to know about, you or to think about, because when you play football, you're in a full uniform. You can't really read your face, can't see the emotion. What's one thing you want Browns fans, whenever they see Mason Graham on the field, that you want them to know what?
I'm just going to do anything for us to win, whatever that may look like or, look like, yeah, basically. But I'm going to do anything, whether that be, lining up anywhere along the front, doing whatever it takes to win at the end of the day. So just know, Browns fans, that you're getting a fierce competitor that just wants to win.
Do you hate losing?
I hate losing, yeah.
More than you like winning?
Yeah, I hate losing more than I like winning.
I love that. I love that. Thrilled to have you here. Congratulations. And I know that this is, in some ways, right, it's the culmination of a life's dream, but in another way, it's the start of a new one, right, for you. So congrats on that, and excited to see you put on the uniform and go out there and wreck some people for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, man.